All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty wild, the idea of turning your knowledge, just your knowledge, into actual spendable currency.
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating concept.
It is, and the platform making this claim is called 4IRGPT.com. They're calling themselves, get this, the world's first knowledge trading AI platform.
Getty, bring it on.
Definitely grabs your attention. So we've got some excerpts from a document all about 4IRGPT.com, and to make things even more interesting, an audio message from the creator himself, Robert, goes by Morpheus, Hastrup Timmy.
Yeah, you can tell right away that he's really passionate about this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, super enthusiastic. And that energy, it's kind of contagious. But okay, before we get too carried away, let's back up a sec. What exactly is this 4IRGPT.com?
So imagine like a specialized YouTube.
Okay, I'm picturing YouTube.
Instead of videos, though, think expertise, sharing and selling your expertise through AI-powered prompts. It's tapping into two massive things happening right now, the fourth industrial revolution, all that AI and automation stuff.
Right.
And at the same time, we've got this rise of the knowledge economy.
So 4IRGPT.com is saying, hey, AI is already shaking things up, maybe even costing some folks their jobs, but here's the solution.
Yeah.
Turn what you know into a new income stream.
Yeah. That's the idea. That old saying, knowledge is power. It's getting a modern makeover. Now it's your knowledge is your currency.
Currency, yeah, you can spend it. Interesting. And a key concept they keep bringing up is this decentralized knowledge economy. What's the deal with that?
Well, 4IRGPT.com uses blockchain technology. It's like, a digital ledger, super secure.
Okay.
And what this does is it lets people trade knowledge and do transactions securely.
Wow.
No more traditional barriers to sharing what you know.
So someone out there listening might be thinking, okay, but what do I know that's worth anything? You know?
I bet they have something. I mean, everyone's got unique skills, experiences. You're
Right.
amazing at baking, coding, gardening,
Right.
whatever. 4IRGPT.com is saying there are people out there, an audience, willing to pay to learn from you.
That's a big claim. But they do use a pretty interesting example in their materials. Morpheus, in that audio message we mentioned, talks about Bill Ackman, the hedge fund manager.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine him, Ackman, setting up a channel on 4IRGPT.com, sharing his, top secret trading strategies.
Mm-hmm.
For a fee, of course, paid in 4i credits, which is their platform-specific currency.
Right.
Which, okay, we'll dive into the whole credits and token thing a bit later. But think about how this kind of financial knowledge usually gets shared. It's expensive newsletters, exclusive seminars. This could be a way for someone like Ackman to, I don't know, scale their knowledge, reach a wider audience.
Exactly. And for regular people, everyday investors, it's like finally a chance to access that kind of expertise without, needing a ton of money or connections.
So it's not just about, like, individual experts cashing in, right? We're talking about some bigger implications here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this could totally revolutionize how companies recruit, how they find talent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about applying for jobs now. It's like, sending out a zillion resumes, hoping one lands somewhere, just hoping to stand out.
Yeah. A soul-crushing process.
It is. 4IRGPT.com wants to flip that whole thing on its head.
Hmm.
Imagine a world where instead of just listing your skills on a resume, you actually show potential employers what you can do.
So instead of, I'm good at this, it's, here's proof. That's got to be way more impactful, right?
Right. Companies could have like interactive assessments, make you solve real-world problems right there on the platform. You're proving your abilities instead of just claiming them.
Hold on, though. For someone like me, not super deep in all this tech stuff, how does blockchain actually make this knowledge trading secure?
Oh, good question. So think of blockchain as it's like a chain of digital blocks, and each block has information about a transaction,
Okay.
and it's decentralized. So no single person or company controls it. It's virtually impossible to tamper with.
It's like a public record, but one that can't be faked. Gotcha.
Exactly. So when you buy or sell knowledge on 4IRGPT.com, that transaction gets recorded securely and transparently on the blockchain.
Okay, makes sense. So instead of that old static resume, you could invite a recruiter to your 4IRGPT.com channel, and they can see your skills in action, see how you think, how you approach problems.
Yeah. It's like a way more dynamic, richer way to showcase what you can do.
And for companies, wow, it's going to be a huge time saver, right? And they can tap into a global talent pool, not limited by location anymore.
Exactly. Find the best fit for the role, no matter where they are in the world.
Pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're
Yeah.
just scratching the surface of what this could mean.
Right. We haven't even gotten to the whole credits and tokens thing yet.
Lots more to unpack.
Definitely. But we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into this whole 4IRGPT.com thing.
Yeah, we've seen how they're trying to make knowledge something you can actually trade, buy, and sell.
Right, but it goes way beyond just, making money. We're talking potential for some pretty big shifts in, well, society.
Right, like Morpheus, in his message, he uses this phrase, decentralization of work. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a big one. Think about it. Usually it's companies, institutions, they're the ones who control access to knowledge, to jobs. But 4IRGPT.com, it's saying individuals can kind of bypass those traditional gatekeepers.
So you're not tied to one employer anymore. You're building your own following based on what you know and earning money directly from the people who value that knowledge.
You become your own boss, in a sense.
Which, okay, that sounds empowering, but couldn't it also be really unstable? I mean, isn't that part of why people like having jobs?
That's a good point.
Oh.
There will be challenges for sure. Not everyone is comfortable with, putting themselves out there, promoting their skills. And there's going to be a learning curve for folks who aren't familiar with all this, like blockchain stuff, AI stuff.
But they are trying to address that, right? I mean, Morpheus talks about 4RGPT.com being designed to be accessible even if you're not a tech wizard. He compares it to the early internet days.
Right. Complicated first, but then eventually it just becomes part of how we live.
Like how we're using the internet right now for this deep dive. Okay, so another big area this could impact is education.
Oh, yeah. Huge potential there.
Are we talking classrooms becoming obsolete? Like everyone learning on 4RGPT.com?
I wouldn't say classrooms are going away completely, but how we learn, that's definitely going to evolve. Imagine students using prompts to engage directly with experts in their field, solving real-world problems, collaborating, all within the platform.
So it's like taking the good parts of online learning, the flexibility, and then adding the personalized guidance you'd get from a tutor or a mentor.
Exactly. You learn at your own pace, go deep on what you're actually interested in, get feedback straight from the experts. It's a pretty different model than, cramming for tests and then hoping you're prepared for the real world.
Yeah. And it opens up possibilities for lifelong learning. You could constantly be updating your skills, learning completely new stuff.
All on this one platform.
Whoa. And okay, thinking about businesses, they're already using AI to automate things. But 4IRGPT.com, it seems like it's creating a whole new marketplace for knowledge.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Morpheus talks about how companies can use this to, attract new customers, engage with them in a way that's a lot more interactive.
It's like marketing becomes a two-way conversation.
Right. Instead of just blasting out information, they're creating experiences, inviting customers to play around with their products or services, virtually, showcasing their expertise, answering questions, even getting feedback, all through prompts.
Interesting. Building relationships before someone even buys anything. Okay, but with all this information flying around, how do they make sure it's good information? How do they stop misinformation from spreading?
That's a huge concern. And they are addressing it. They're using community feedback mechanisms, AI, to moderate content. And they're partnering with, established institutions to verify that the experts are actually experts.
Okay, so we've talked about work, education, businesses. But what about the big picture? Societally, how does all this reshape how we think about knowledge, about what it means to be an expert?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's a big one that we're gonna dig into in the final part of our deep dive.
All right, so you're leaving us hanging a bit.
A little bit, but one thing's for sure. 4IRGPT.com is definitely forcing us to rethink a lot of those old models. It's making us consider a future where knowledge really is, like they say, power.
And maybe shifting that power away from big institutions, giving more power to individuals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe we're moving away from this knowledge hoarding to a world of knowledge sharing, knowledge trading, democratizing knowledge.
Big stuff. Big, potentially world-changing stuff. Can't wait to hear more in the final part of our deep dive. All right, final part of our deep dive into 4IRGPT.com. We've covered a lot of ground. How it works, how it could change, everything from jobs to education, even how businesses do their thing.
Right. And now it's time to tackle the big question. What does all this mean for knowledge itself?
Yeah.
How will 4IRGPT.com and these kinds of platforms, how will they change how we value expertise in society?
Yeah. It's like Morpheus says, every thought, every neuron in your head, it all has value. That's a pretty big statement.
It is, because for so long we've connected expertise with, degrees, institutions. exclusivity even.
Yeah,
You had to go through the system, get the right credentials.
climb the ladder.
Exactly.
But with 4IRGPT.com, it's like they're saying, hey, your experience, however you got it, it has value. You don't need anyone's permission.
No gatekeepers.
Right. So what happens to those gatekeepers? The universities, professional organizations, all that, do they just disappear?
I don't think they'll vanish entirely,
Mm.
but they'll definitely need to adapt, right? Maybe embrace these new learning models, even integrate platforms like 4IRGPT.com into what they're already doing.
It's almost like, back when the printing press came along.
Oh yeah, good comparison.
Suddenly, knowledge became more accessible, and it shook things up big time. Power structures changed. Huge cultural shifts.
And we might be at the start of something similar. Knowledge becomes more democratized, you empower individuals, challenge those old hierarchies.
More opportunities for everyone, potentially. Morpheus seems really optimistic about that. He even talks about 4IRGPT.com as a way to, counter the negative effects of AI taking over jobs.
He sees it as a way for people who, might lose their jobs because of automation. They can use the platform to, make some income, learn new skills.
Adapt to the changes.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of being a victim of all this tech disruption, they become active participants. Take control.
Powerful idea. But, okay, realistically, there are going to be some bumps along the way. How do you ensure quality in this, wild west of knowledge sharing? How do you stop the spread of bad information?
Absolutely. Those are critical questions. And honestly, with any disruptive technology, you're going to have challenges. Potential downsides, but the potential benefits, they're huge.
Right, it's a trade-off. But imagine a world where people from all walks of life are sharing ideas, collaborating, a more informed public, actively engaged in creating knowledge.
And maybe, just maybe, we start to value knowledge not just for, its economic potential, but for its ability to actually empower people, make communities stronger, drive real progress.
That's an exciting thought. So, to wrap things up, if you're listening to this, whether you see yourself as a future prompt creator or maybe an investor or just someone who's curious about all this,
Keep an eye on this space. Things are changing fast. The future of knowledge, it's unfolding right now. And it's pretty unpredictable.
who knows, maybe you'll be the next Bill Ackman of AI-powered knowledge sharing. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those prompts flowing.